how to build an app MVP fast. So we're going to be doing this in 7 steps. I'm going to just draw 7 boxes. So the first one, MVP. What's an MVP? So an MVP is the minimum viable product you release to the market. Let's just take it as the first product that you release to the market that people can test and use. And every app you know today started with something that went out, something very ugly, something not cute, but it solved the problem. So now, how do you build an app very fast with an MVP, right? So what are the steps you need to do? First, understand the problem that you are solving. So you start with the problem. What are you solving? Because you can't just build an app if you're not solving a problem. The problem could be entertainment, it could be business, it could be anything. So far, you are helping one person get out of a particular issue. It could be anything, it could be a game, it could be anything. So now you have to understand what problem you have or you want to solve, and this problem needs to be something that people need. At the beginning, yes, you may not know if this is not going to be a thing, but there are some people that already know that their product is going to work because probably maybe someone has complained and something, and they know that okay, there's a problem and it needs to be solved, right? So that is where you start from. So now, once you've gotten your problem, the next thing is doc, meaning document. So you have to document your problem. Many founders run away from this, right? You know, they get the problem, they just start spiraling around. They do research, right? But you need a doc, a proper doc. So there's what we call PRD, that's product requirement documents. So it could be fancy, and I'm going to leave a template somewhere in the video, right? I have a template so that you can use. But you can need an expert that knows how to build products, right? In as much as I know ChatGPT and the other tools are there, you need to know, you need to talk to an expert that knows what you're building. But if you're a developer and you know and understand the product, that's very good. But if you're not a developer, maybe a designer, you can partner with one, or you can work with an agency, right, like us, in order to create your own product requirements documents. So now these documents, right, helps you break down what your app is. This document has a lot, from who your target audience is, where they are coming from, the problem, the lean canvas. So lean canvas is another thing inside the product requirement document. So now once you can prepare this document after getting the problem, this has already taken you another step into launching your MVP. And note, this could take a timeline of, let's say, a week or even 3 days, right? It depends on how fast you want to move. So now, when you have your documents, most of you usually ask, what's the timeline, right? So now, a typical app product usually take 3 months. But your MVP could take less if you are a developer, right? You know that you are the one doing your own thing. You are just doing things in patches. And even if you meet with an agency, right, it depends on the kind of MVP you are. There's an MVP that can be released in 2 months, right, minimum. But the timeline matters very well because your timeline helps you to make sure that this comes out fast. So if you are not having a timeline, it's going to be a problem because you just wish, okay, I have an MVP, I have an idea, let's go. If you don't box yourself within a timeline, you would find yourself building this product for like 30 years. Trust me, there's some products still in the workshop. So now, what's the next thing in order for you to build your MVP fast? So once you've gotten your problem, your doc, your timeline, you need to find a way to validate your idea fast. So now that is going to be the fourth. So validate. Validate means to check if people are actually interested in your problem in the first place, or your idea, right? So now you can use a landing page for this. You can send people to a landing page that doesn't really have the real app itself, but have, let's say, screenshots, snippets, and all those things that tell people to join the wait list. And the wait list could have some questions. What would you like to see in the app, and what are the problems that you have? You get from people, dropping those things, you can get. Sometimes not every customer has their problem, but if you ask it in a very good way, like in a survey, to get data rather than asking for a decision, right, you can get more valid points from here. So there are different ways to validate. Some persons create a prototype, go ahead to create a prototype. Some people create various kinds of way of validation, but one of the easiest ways is create a landing page and send people there. Or you can go directly with your two legs to the persons that have this problem and pitch it like, oh, I have this thing, would you invest in this problem? I'm building it tomorrow, right? And like, yeah, I can give something up front. That has given you the green light to say, okay, this product is good and I can push it. So as much as possible, once you've gotten your green light, the next stage, getting your team. So now your team is very important. It could be you, it could be you and your friend, it could be an agency that has all the teams that are ready to fire your product. So now a team is very important because this would help you in terms of design, development, beta testing, DevOps, and the rest. So if you are not someone that is, you just have an idea, you're an idea guy, right? You can, as much as possible, create a team around this, or you have a co-founder that is technical in one, so you guys balance each other out. But if you don't have that, and okay, a good agency that can get this thing shipped as fast as possible and not just as fast, and can ship this thing without giving you headache, right? You now have a team to create your product and ship your product out there. Okay, so build is very important. Depending on the kind of idea you have, you might want to build a mobile app, you might want to build a web app, you might want to build a software, you might want to build a hardware. So it all depends on what you want to build, right? So as much as possible, look for the, how do I put it this way, the quickest way people can test that product. Take for example now, most persons start with web apps, right? Except the app defaults, like the technicalities, what the core features are, cannot be used on a particular platform. Take for example now, your app relies on camera. Say you're creating a new Instagram or social media, you would not want to go to the web to create it. You want to stick to mobile because you might probably need location and some other little things to fire up the app, right? But if it's something that's very simple, let's say SaaS, no business going on the mobile, just create a web that does everything, send people a link, it does not have barrier to entry or anything. People can test your app fast, give you feedback fast, and you move. So now building is very important. Also, the tech stack that you would use in order to build a product is also very important. So what programming languages you are building, are you putting security into consideration? All those things has to be in your mind when building your product, and it is very important. So if you are going into a place that has a lot of compliance, take for example now fintech, have you met all the regulations? Sometimes some persons build without regulations, right? But don't let them catch you. You get. So as much as possible, build in the right place. That is why this is here. Build with the right place and build in the place that you can move your product fast so that people can test it. You validate your idea for the second time, and you know that okay, this is what my time. Yeah. So test. You test your idea. It's very important. So at the end of the day, you've built, you test. Okay, this is not working, this is working. And one of the best ways to test with users, beta testing. So your beta testing could be with the user or the people exactly that you initially went to say, okay, I am building a product and I want you to test my product, right? Then if the product doesn't fit and there are complaints and some other things, illustrate very fast. Meaning, what I mean is, if this is not working, you can pivot, right? But you have to give yourself time to test, time to get feedback, enough feedback. If, for example, now at least you've gotten a thousand users, and these users are using 500, depending on your product. Product also have high users upfront, right? So as much as possible, 500 and above, and you can know that okay, are these people buying from my product? Are they even interacting? And if they are not, you keep, refining, testing. At least you give yourself 1 to 3 months of testing. And depending on your results, you can choose to pivot to another thing or sit down with your team and find out what to fix after the lots of testing to know that, okay, you found a problem. If it's the product that is the problem, if it's difficult, if it's the idea that maybe it is not its time, you can see we gradually pushing it, right? Whatever you figure out at the end of the day, after testing, you take action to it. So now let's recap how to build an app MVP fast. So you have an idea and you want to build it fast. What do? Write down the problem. Is this problem real? Does it have people that it serve? Then when you think about the idea and jot it down, create a document about it. What is this idea going to have? What is going to do? Who is it serving? This is very important because these documents grow with your idea. As your idea moves, it grows. Timeline, right? How long would this whole process take? 3 months, 4 months, one day, one week, depending on who is building, right? Then you validate your idea. Validating is very important. Talk to people, right? Create wait lists, create landing pages. Go directly to these people that have this problem. And when you go directly to them, whatever the feedback you have, write it down. There will be good feedback, there will be bad feedback. As a good founder, you know what to pick, right? Then you build your team. It could be a one-man team, two-man team, agency team, whatever team you have, it should be able and capable of bringing the idea to life. Then you start building the best tech stack, the best platform to launch first, and make sure everything works very fine. Then you test. When you test, you find a problem, and if it needs you to pivot, you pivot on time and don't delay. Decisions are done quicker, faster, and you know whether your app is what's pushing to the market and even making you profit or investor happy app. If you have any question, don't forget to leave it in the comments below. And also don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. See you on the next post.